Hello, welcome to the ESS BIZTOOLS Advanced Package Overview. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director and Founder of ESS BIZTOOLS. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Serious about advisory services. This is a serious question for accountants and bookkeepers and business advisors. Are you serious about supplying advisory services to your SME clients? If so, welcome. And I look forward to introducing you to the services which ESS BIZTOOLS have produced based on my experience as a senior partner of an accounting firm, chief financial officer and company secretary of a listed public company, a government-appointed business advisor to a major Australian government grant program, encouraging businesses to innovate and be able to raise capital, which was called the COMET program, Commercialising Emerging Technology. So we're serious about delivering services to assist accountants, bookkeepers, and business advisors to deliver services which will assist your SME clients to survive and prosper in the current very difficult business environment. So what's included in the ESS BIZTOOLS Advanced Package? First of all, you've got the material that's been included in the first two steps of the four-step process which we have within ESS BIZTOOLS. So you have the material that was introduced in the advisory intro package, and then the starter package is automatically made available within the advanced package. The SME community needs assistance from accountants. Failure rates are up. People are getting into difficulties. There's a lack of awareness of fiscal management, according to the CEO of MYOB, Paul Robson, who made comments in an article in the Financial Review in February of this year and talked about debtors, misunderstandings. It talked about not understanding payment terms that suppliers might impose, and talked about new business people not factoring in that they had to pay the taxation office based on their BAS returns, and obviously the income tax deducted from employees' wages. I think the need is far more important than just the preparation of an income tax return and lodgement of business activity statements. I know that's the way services were presented for the many years, but today there's no excuse. There's now the technology, there's the software, and there's the communication ability to be able to render services. So for the first time, really, accountants in public practice can be the virtual chief financial officer to assist SME clients to achieve their potential in their business. SMEs need an input similar to what occurs in larger businesses where they employ an accountant. Why do they employ an accountant? They don't employ accountants to work on the data that's required for the income tax return. And even the monthly financial accounts, whilst they're part of the accountant's role, they're not the only activity. There's a lot of activity built around costings, what-if situations, business analysis. I was the chief financial officer and company secretary of a listed public company, and I think virtually every day I got what-if questions from the CEO. Peter, what do you think about this? Could we do it this way? And we would have to undertake costing exercises, sometimes experimentation. We're in the meat industry, so we had specialist team members we could bring together then to prepare products in a different manner to suit what the CEO was inquiring about. Do you think your clients don't have those same sort of questions? What if? Who do they ask? Most of them are lucky if they got more than 2 or 3 in their leadership team. Whereas in the public company that I was involved in, there were 12 in the leadership team. Then there were 13 area managers and there were 13 area accountants around Australia. So all of that advice was coming back in to head office, to the CEO and to the leadership team members. Now, we were larger than a small business, I admit, but I think, in fact, I know that the CEOs, the owners, the bosses in our SME clients also have enormous worries and problems in running their business. And they haven't got an in-house accountant that they can turn to and say, well, can you do this calculation? Or what's the effect of this order going to be on our cash flow? Because the request from a customer might be, and the customer might be overseas, of course, well, we would like to pay you on a 90-day basis. So that raises some real cash flow issues, doesn't it? Do you get those sort of questions at present when you're offering basically a taxation service? I suspect you don't. But I'm sure you will once you really cement your position with your clients as the virtual CFO, because you should be encouraging them to contact you about those sorts of questions, because that is the nitty-gritty of running a business. I think the high failure rate we've got in SMEs is because they're not getting this input. That's your challenge. And it's our challenge at ESS BIZTOOLS to produce resources, material, guidelines, and promotional material to assist you to deliver these types of services. So what do SMEs need? I think in the first instance, it's very important that you undertake a due diligence review on your client's business. And in making that statement, I'm not concerned how many years you've been doing the income tax return. Because over the years, I've noticed that if we're undertaking just the preparation of an income tax return, we really don't know much about the client's affairs. In lots of cases, I find accountants have never visited their client's premises. But if you're going to be the virtual chief financial officer, involved basically on a day-to-day basis, phone call, a Zoom meeting away, you need to know a lot more about the business. You need to know how it works. You need to have undertaken due diligence on the internal control systems. And who's got authority to do what? Are there proper procedure manuals, particularly relating to the financial matters? In the end, you need to have a knowledge that is 1 inch wide but a mile deep, so that you clearly understand where the problem areas are, where the internal control weakness areas are, and what improvements can be made, what costs can be reduced. And your clients need a business plan. A business plan is like a map for a tourist. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to know when you get there? It's an old statement, but it's very true. And a business plan shouldn't be the copy of the last one you prepared for someone else in your office. It needs to be tailored to suit the specific requirements of this business, because otherwise the leadership team will not have ownership of that business plan. And it is the leadership team of your client's business that has the responsibility to implement the business plan. And once the business plan's finished, we can then have it expressed in financial terminology. And that's what the predictive accounting reports are. Budgets, cash flow forecasts, projected balance sheet, projected source and application of funds. It allows you to become the storyteller, to be able to talk to your client and the leadership team to explain to them that if these sort of turnover levels, gross profit margins, general expenses, labour to turnover costs are all achieved, this is what this business should look like in 3 years' time. And then the leadership team and the CEO can sit down and discuss that and decide whether that is their vision. Is that what they anticipated? Or is there some further work to be done because it doesn't quite measure up to their expectation? And we build all this around the concept of a 52-week business improvement system, because this is what your clients are involved in. They are operating 52 weeks of the year. Yet, unfortunately, what has become the tradition in Australia is that most accounting firms, in concentrating on the taxation issues, have no contact with the client other than to query taxation and then have to have a meeting. Now, with the client, now there might be a meeting once or twice during the year, but invariably it's on taxation issues. There's a lot more matters of concern to the SME operator. So we think the proper system is that you have assisted in the implementation of a process of daily reports. Now, the daily reports might just have 3 or 4 figures on them. Yesterday's sales, yesterday's cash at bank, yesterday's debtors figures. What's got to happen today? What's a priority for the leadership team? And other people expanded a bit more than that, but that's basically it. It might have yesterday's sales, gross profit percentage, especially if you're in retail. Does that figure mean something to the leadership team, or it should? And then a weekly performance and profitability report, very important. The big end of town prepare weekly reports and profitability reports. I had reason to do some work within some IGA stores a few years ago, and they are preparing departmental reports. The store I was working with had 42 departments, and each week they knew their sales and their gross profit and the gross profit percentage for each of those departments, and they got an overall profitability figure. They knew their wages to turnover in each department, and they were able to compare it to their budgets and cash flows. Now, some of those operators were legitimate small business operators. Some of the others owned 12, 13 IGA stores, so they were a bit bigger. But the same systems implemented in the major chains like Woolworths. So I had reason to do some reviews of and discussions with Woolworths as to what they have in their systems. So compare that to a butcher shop operating outside in a complex that's got a Woolworths store in it. They might only be 50 metres away from the entrance to the Woolworths store. And inside in the Woolworths store, obviously there's a butcher shop, meat processing, and the shop manager there is sitting down with the general manager of that store, probably on a Monday afternoon, and looking at the results. What happens to your client 50 metres away outside? Is he doing that? Some do, but unfortunately, on my observation, the majority don't, because they don't know who can assist them. Within the Woolworths store, they've got someone there that's assisting. The data's there, and there's people to assist in the interpretation. This is the service that you need to help your clients to survive and thrive. And the monthly financial accounts, very important. They should be prepared and then analysed and compared to the budget, and a budget comparison report prepared. And then the all-important key performance indicators, the business metrics, because this is one of the big missing links in the services being provided at present by many accounting firms who are concentrating primarily on taxation. Those key performance indicators, gross profit percentages, labour to turnover percentage, average sale as compared to the expectation and what occurred last year, are very important for your clients. And they need to know that that data is accurate. They need to know that someone's checked the systems, because they make decisions on those figures. Yet if you're only talking to them 2 or 3 times a year, primarily on taxation, who are they getting that input from? And the business failures around Australia show that if If they're getting the input, it's wrong, or they're not getting the input at all because they don't know who to go to. They think that their accountant is only interested in the taxation return. And that's a myth we need to change. If we are going to be the trusted advisor to SMEs. Now, that terminology, the trusted advisor, is a direct quote from the recently retired tax commissioner, Chris Jordan, who had been a partner in KPMG before he was headhunted to run the tax office about 10 years ago. 2.5 years ago, he gave a very explicit warning to the accountancy profession. You need to change what you're doing, he said, because the technology is changing in the tax return market. And if you've been concentrating on preparation of tax returns, you need to change to become the trusted advisor. And he said at that stage, the changes were going to be really obvious in 3 years' time. Well, there's 6 months to go on that 3 years' time figure. But even if it's a year or so out, ultimately, what the tax office talks about is implemented, because that's what they've been doing for the last 30 to 40 years. What's the monthly financial analysis of cash flow? Is there projections that you have now done to say that, gee, in 3 months' time, because of some problems with supply, especially if you're importing, or your client's importing products or raw materials from overseas, there may be some real problems because the shipping routes have had to be changed. No one's going through the Suez Canal because of the Middle East conflict. They're going around the bottom of South Africa, Cape of Good Hope. What's that effect on your client's business? What's the cash flow implications? And where are the extra funds going to come from? Has your client got spare borrowing capacity that they can borrow some more money? Or do they need to start looking at the opportunities to be able to raise capital? Do they know anything about crowdsourced funding equity raising, which is very suitable for a company with a turnover under $25 million annually to be able to raise up to $5 million. But shares in the company have to be allocated. So there needs to be a conversation with your client. This is advisory service in real action. And then I think you should be producing a monthly financial report as if you are the chief financial officer and you're working for a public company, because your report then goes to the board of directors. But your client might have a board of advice, whatever it's called. And if there's no board of directors or board of advice meeting formally, the report, I suggest, should still be getting prepared and going to the CEO, and hopefully he will distribute it to the leadership team members, so they have in writing your comments on their overall business performance. So that's my overview of what I think the seriousness of advisory services is all about. It's the commercial viability of your clients' affairs that we're very concerned about. Taxation's an issue, but the first objective is to make sure your client's trading at a profit. If they're not trading at a profit, the taxation issues are a non-event, aren't they? And we need to get the businesses to be confident that they can trade at a profit. And then, of course, the taxation side of it is another service that you will be providing to them. So let's look at the standard packages that we've included in the advanced package. First of all, these are, when I'm saying standard, they were included in the advisory intro package or the starter package. So the business advisory firm training, there's 13 modules there, and it will assist to get your team into a way of thinking that Their role now is advising a business to help it perform on a day-to-day basis. Taxation's really not the main issue. And we've got the SME needs analysis. That's a collection of questions and statements to try to encourage your client to tell you what's really worrying them. What wakes them up at 3 a.m.? What changes could you make? What's their what if type questions? What if we did this? What if we did that? Your package entitles you to 10 training sessions per annum in a group basis. So that's for the advanced package. And hopefully you will take that up and bring your whole team to that. We will present via Zoom and you can ask questions. So we get some feedback so you can hear the discussions, my answers to the questions raised by other firms from all over Australia. And we produce a Business Plus newsletter each month. We started that 17 years ago. Pardon me. Because I understand that many SMEs really only associate accountants with tax. We need to change that thinking. And the Business Plus newsletter has done that job very well for many of our subscribers. We write 4 to 6 articles in each edition, but the articles are on variable matters. And we're trying to ensure that in each edition, there's something that will appeal to clients in the various stages of running a small business, those contemplating starting or buying a small business, those who have been running a small business for about a year, those who are undertaking innovative activities and might be interested in research and development, those who are wanting to scale up and grow, who are very interested in capital raising type activities, those who are thinking about succession because they want to retire, those who are thinking about selling their business. How do you get your business ready for sale? It's a whole range of issues that need to be looked at. We got the client mentoring and coaching modules. These are pre-prepared. You just badge them. So you can talk to your clients about different subject matters, their debtors, their work in progress. How does crowdsource funding, equity raising operate? What's their risk management strategy? These types of questions that you can use the material to discuss the various issues, to try to get your client thinking and saying, gee, yeah, you should come in and do a full review on our business relative to risk management. And you've got access to 36 seminars or webinars. You badge with your firm name, read the material, and you can start presenting. It's part of creating the image in the marketplace. And obviously those presentations can go to more than your clients. You can promote them in your local community or to an industry group all over Australia if you wish. 36 of them. And also you have the ESS papers. This has been one of the most popular things we have prepared over the years. And we've been developing ESS BIZTOOLS for 25 years. But we have currently 580 papers in ESS BIZTOOLS, which we are continually updating and writing new papers as new concepts come into the business world, covering 68 subjects. So our subscribers to the advanced package can badge that material, that paper, and send it to a client, but then follow up. That's the key to show your clients that you're interested. I sent you a paper about research and development because you told me you were doing some fiddling in your workshop and one of the young apprentices had come up with a good idea. Communicate it back to your client and show them there is a path that they can claim a taxation advantage, but it might be the start of a fantastic innovation journey that at the end of it, they've created a new asset that might be worth millions. Or it might only be worth cost savings of 100 grand a year in the business, but it all helps, doesn't it? But the key message for accountants is to show some enthusiasm with your clients that you can help them achieve these results. Now let's look at the new advisory services that are in the advanced package. They haven't been in the earlier packages, but you've got access to them. We've got business health checks, business metrics for 5 separate industries that you can see there, and we are adding to that. So these are templates that are produced on Excel spreadsheets that allow you to set up a system to keep the recordings of the various statistics, so you can sit down with your client and show them where there's been variables. Or better still, have it being actually produced for the client so they can see it at the same time you see it. Business planning. I mentioned business planning in the preamble as we got started on this discussion. Business planning is vital because it creates a think tank environment. I don't think you should ever say, I'll go off and produce a business plan for you. I think that's the wrong answer. I know some people advocate that, but I definitely disagree. I think the way to develop a business plan is to plan a number of sessions with the leadership team. Probably never more than 3 hours, with a break every hour. Because a lot of these people are not used to sitting down at desks in the leadership team. They're people on the move. They're grabbing for these things all the time because that's the way they have to operate. But you need to have them to get those turned off and guarantee it'll only be for 3 hours and work your way through it. Have a questionnaire. In ESS BIZTOOLS, we've got about 40 questionnaires to help you when you're doing the business plan. And work your way through, get the answers. You should be the scribe, taking down the notes, helping steer the conversation, but trying to get the leadership team and the total team, if the client agrees to having a session with the client total team, to express their views. Because as I said earlier, you need to have the leadership team on side. In football terms, you need to have the dressing room with you. You need to have everyone saying, this is the way we're going to go, because they have ownership of the delivery of the business plan at the end of the day. You might be a small part of that if you're offering a virtual CFO service, but it's those sales manager, production manager, marketing manager, research and development coordinator, and those sort of people who are going to have the responsibility to deliver. Therefore, I think they need to have real ownership of the business plan. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And the cash flow management is looking at a whole range of issues relating to cash flow management, which then rolls into predictive accounting reports. So that will assist you to be able to communicate to your clients about a whole range of cash flow issues. And then we turn to the big one, Chief Financial Officer Services. This is the highlight of the advanced package, the Chief Financial Officer Services. This is where we introduce it. We've talked about it a little bit in our advisory intro package and our starter package, but this is the full presentation of the Chief Financial Officer Services. Covers a lot of area. And this is what I think Australian accountants should be aspiring to deliver to your SME clients, so that you are the key focal financial person. You're the person that the CEO is going to ring about his what-if ideas or her what-if ideas. Crowdsource funding equity raising is another huge item in here. This enables you to offer real accounting services to help companies that need additional funding. Now, it mightn't be because they're in difficulty. It might be because they're wanting to expand. and grow their business. Now, crowdsourced funding equity raising's been going in Australia now for about 7 years. We were about 6 years behind the other major Western nations, including New Zealand, on getting started on crowdsourced funding equity raising. And it's had its ups and downs. But a company can raise up to $5 million in 12 months by the issue of shares in the company. The Australian Security Investment Commission has appointed crowdsourced funding intermediaries. These are people with Australian financial services licenses, and they are the intermediaries. They have powers that have been delegated to them by ASIC, and they are also promoters to try to encourage investors. There's an interesting process. What it does is open up a significant amount of work opportunities for your accounting firm. Because anyone that's going to be talking to a crowdsourced funding intermediary, first of all, needs to clearly understand how crowdsourced funding operates. We have that package included in this product package. But you're also going to need a business plan, the predictive accounting reports, a vision for where they're going, an understanding of corporate governance, because they, in all probability, might be one or two external directors that ultimately are appointed to the company's board of directors as part of this capital raising process. So it's a new ballgame. But you can be an integral part of that to assist your clients. It's exciting stuff. And that package is included. And then we turn to the early stage innovation company. This was the stablemate of crowdsourced funding equity raising. Unfortunately, in the parliamentary process, they got separated a bit. And I think it was early stage innovation company was finally signed off by the Governor General about 8 months before crowdsourced funding equity raising. Doesn't really matter. But the big thing is, early stage innovation company introduced for the first time and the only time an incentive from the federal government for investors to invest in a small Australian young company. Yes, there's an incentive for investors, and it's a well-kept secret. I don't know why. I think accountants should be talking about this to your clients. Some of your clients are looking for investment opportunities, and they can gain significant amounts, 20% of the investment. Now, there are investment limits for a retail investor. There's none for a sophisticated investor, but a sophisticated investor can earn a tax rebate of up to $200,000. So that's obviously computed on $1 million investment, and they receive 20% of that. But the other real benefit is if they own the shares for longer than 12 months and less than 10 years, they pay no capital gains tax on those shares that were issued as part of this early stage innovation company status process. Does that create some interest? Oh, and the side benefit of all this, of course, is your clients got the investment dollars. They're not getting any benefit from the government, although I'm sure the government would argue they are, because obviously the government, through the tax office, is paying the inducement to the investors to invest in these companies. I think we should be talking about crowdsourced funding equity raising and early stage innovation companies every month to our SME clients, making them aware that this exists, and also making sure that those clients that you've got to have got superannuation funds with money and they're looking around for investments, let them know that there are some benefits from investing in an early stage innovation company. And those companies also will need business plans, budgets, cash flow forecasts, projected balance sheets, an understanding of how the process works. And there is a process that has to be abided by. And realise that this is just not a giveaway. They're just not going to get the money. They have got to work hard to do it. And you can help them on that journey. And this might be the start of the innovation journey for that client. The Personal Property Securities Register. I must admit I hated the legislation when it first got introduced. It was then significantly modified. There was a review. I think the judge that undertook the review made about 340 odd recommendations, and changes were made. It's still there. People can still get caught either by not registering one of their key customers. So it's worth looking at and understanding. Lots of ways it works in with debtors management and control, but there needs to be an awareness, and we've got a product package covering it. And then we turn to research and development. Research and development is a huge area, created through amendments to the Income Tax Act. I've struck accountants who say to me, "Oh no, we're not into research and development. You need to be a scientist or an engineer to understand that. We only concentrate on tax." Well, the amendments for the research and development are embedded in the Tax Act. And it is very popular for some SMEs and some larger companies, of course. And there's all sorts of statistics about how much money going through it, and the government gives away a lot of benefits because of the taxation benefits that are available. Now, in the advisory intro package, we introduced an introduction to research and development, so that an accountant or a bookkeeper, business advisor, when they were sitting talking with a client, if the client said, "I've heard some stories about research and development. Can you tell me anything about it?" The concept is they could click onto their screen and then go through it. You need to be a company. You need to spend at least $20,000 on legitimate research and development expenditure in a financial year, and so on. You need to keep records. You need to undertake a prior art search, and we then very quickly explain what a prior art search is. That's the introductory package, which you get in any case in the advanced package, but then we now go through the complete system, which starts with an idea, because that's where research and development starts. And it then proceeds through the various components. And you don't apply for approval up front for research and development unless you want to undertake research overseas. And it's very difficult to get approval from the tax office and Industry, who are the other government department involved in the research and development, for work to be undertaken overseas. They really want it undertaken in Australia. And then we go through all the processes which culminate at the end of the 12 months in a report that has to be submitted to Industry, because they are the industry experts. They have got people employed there who can understand the research and development concept that a business is undertaking. And they issue a certification number that then has to be included in the company's income tax return to claim the research and development benefits. So our material goes all the way through. We are looking at every component. The total package includes 46 different templated forms. Now, you'll never use all of them on one client. And in fact, I think you could work on R&D for 10 years and not use all those forms. But they're there in case you need them. There's 13 flowcharts. I think you'll need those, or you should use those. First of all, for team training amongst your own team, so they really understand how this process works. But primarily, I wrote them for you to be able to communicate with your clients and show them how it all works. And then we've got 13 separate papers, because we like writing papers with sections of the legislation rather than writing a huge paper that might have 200 pages in it. And a lot of that would not be of concern to the SME at whatever stage they happen to be at that time. We've also got a strategic business mentoring, which we developed because we had someone contacted us at the time and said they were going to become an executive director of one of their clients, and he wanted to know if we had any material and what an executive director's role was. So based on my experience, because I had that same position in a few companies over the years, I wrote that material, which is part of the advanced package. And then we come to the 52-week business enhancement system, which I mentioned earlier. Now, this is the vital ongoing reporting system. And just to repeat what we've already talked about, the daily reports, the weekly performance and profitability report, monthly financial accounts and budget variations, the very important key performance indicators and business metrics are all part of that package. And then we got the material which has been included in either the starter package or the advisory intro, the earlier packages, the first two steps. You get this as well. So you get grant update reports each week. You get the tradies charge out rate calculator, which is the most popular component within ESS BIZTOOLS. And there are thousands of tradies in Australia, and a lot of them don't get their charge out rates right. This system will assist in doing that. Similar for the professional service firms, a package for setting retail price calculations. And if you want to know more about what's in this package, please go to our website and download the starter package webinar we presented a couple of days ago, where I've gone into a lot more detail on these components. Buying a business, the research and development introduction that I just talked about, debtors management, an enormous problem for SMEs that was highlighted by the CEO of MYOB in the report that I mentioned earlier. And the debtors systems manual, which is our suggestion of a way that you help your clients to overcome this problem. Selling a business. There's still sales of businesses occurring in these difficult conditions. What's the guidelines? Is now the appropriate time to sell? Is it better to undertake some changes in the business first? Succession planning in the business evaluation workshop. So if you've got any questions, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone 0747241118. I'll be happy to talk to you. We can run a short Zoom meeting with you. Now, your investment in investing in this package, the advanced package with a 50% discount, which we're offering as part of the Black Friday promotion, and it's available 24/7. Once you're clicked on and in our system as a subscriber, you can go into our system at 3 a.m. in the morning if you want to. That is a investment from you of $2,970, including GST, 2,970, or the 3-month package. This is a new innovation we've introduced as part of the Black Friday promotion. We're saying you can have full subscriber rights for 3 months to the package, the advanced package, for $854, including GST. And we hope, of course, that we are going to be able to convince you over that 3 months that you should then pay the further 9 months, which is also based on this discounted price. So it'll be a proportion of the $2,970 for the final 9 months, if you elect to do that. Now, this special offer is available until the 10th of December. So are you ready to implement these advisory services for your clients? Please go to www.essbiztools.com.au, click on packages and pricing, and then you'll see the names of our major packages, and there in that list will be advanced package. And when you go on to the advanced package, you've got the choice of 12 months, 50% discount package, the 2,970, including GST, or the 3 months special package offer for the $854, including GST. I look forward to your firm joining us as being part of the ESS BIZTOOLS community, where we are all working together to try to advance the financial stability of SME businesses all over Australia. Stay safe. Have a great day. Thank you for your participation in watching this webinar. And I look forward to talking to you separately. We are preparing a separate webinar, which we'll be promoting in the next couple of days, where we actually go on and look at some of the key components of the advanced package. Thanks for your interest. Have a great day. Goodbye.